welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering India's small businesses such as yourselves and hand-holding and guiding you in your growth journey. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, we're talking all things consumer electronics. We're putting the spotlight on Samsung with this very exclusive sit-down interview talking trends going forward also into the new year, prices and everything in between. Let me introduce my guest tonight. Tonight, joining us on the show, Mohandeep Singh, Senior Vice President, Consumer Electronics Business, Samsung India. So good chatting with you here in this very vibrant office here at Samsung and to be really talking about what's happening in the festive season, your FOMO sale and so much more. And good having you here on the show today with us.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
So I want to start by talking about FOMO, and obviously the audience that you're talking to is aware of what FOMO stands for. What is this festive period and what is the festive sales?
So I think the festive is actually started off on a very good note.
Yeah.
We did very well, whether it is growths or the premium products. And premium products is a trend that we've been seeing for some time now. And we saw that further gained momentum.
Yeah.
So I think we had a very, very good start of the season. So I think from here on till Christmas and New Year's,
Sure.
I think it's one long festive period. And I think the industry will do very well. Within that, I think we will do very well.
Okay. And you categorize premium not as the pricing, but the size. So, for instance, large screen TVs, washing machines over 8 liters, etc. Is that
That's
how?
right.
Okay.
So it's a mix of technology and size,
Okay.
capacity, depending upon the product that we are talking about, and hence we, categorize as premium.
Okay.
And the trend that we are seeing is that, consumers are upgrading to newer technologies which give better experience. And they're also upgrading to larger sizes, which also give better experience. And it's not true for one category. So, if I were to talk about television, that's quite intuitive. People want the latest technology to experience entertainment, at home. But even if I were to look at, for example, a washing machine, the trend of large capacity started off some time back, but is really gaining momentum.
Sure.
Or the capacity of refrigerators. So people are buying into larger, capacities, larger screens, so on and so forth.
Okay, so in gaining momentum, one thing that's not gaining momentum is the hotness of the coffee. So I hope,
okay.
I don't want to keep you from that.
Sure.
I'll come back and really talk about some of these products in specific. But what I would love to understand is the demand that you're seeing, and the initial demand that you're seeing. How much of it perhaps is the pent-up demand where people weren't spending as much during the pandemic and the COVID period, and is perhaps being seen now?
So my very strong belief is that whatever was the pent-up demand has largely got serviced.
Okay.
And when we talk about pent-up, the perception one gets is that there was a necessity and you couldn't meet that necessity.
Yeah.
That's pent-up, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's pent-up that is driving sales right now.
Okay.
I think what is driving sales is that consumers have experienced the joy of creating a nice living space at their home. Whether by having a great television and a home theater system with it, or having a side-by-side refrigerator and becoming a home chef, or
Or if you're working from home, a better quality laptop perhaps.
a better quality laptop with a monitor perhaps.
Yeah.
So people have created those spaces which make them efficient, which gives them happiness. And I think that's the trend now which is fueling the growths. So I wouldn't say that the industry couldn't service the pent up demand in so many months. We were able to service the real pent up demand. I don't think what is fueling the growth is any longer pent up demand.
Sure.
I think it's a trend that has caught on and it is becoming stronger.
Okay.
So, I keep seeing in technology, we talk about, innovators, then early adopters, then early majority and so on and so forth. I think pandemic pushed us into a certain new lifestyle.
Yeah.
And now, some of us were the innovators, But then there are people who've now started to kind of take on that. So, I mean, if I created a nice space at home,
Yeah.
I created a home theater, let's say, room for myself to enjoy, whatever I enjoy watching. And when family and friends come over, they say, why not?
Yeah.
And that trend kind of continues. And when I go to somebody's place and I say, oh wow, what a nice workstation you've put up at home, and then I say, why not?
Yeah.
And I start off. So
Sure.
there are various home improvement, creating these spaces at home.
Yeah.
I think that started as a something that the pandemic got us into, but now consumers are saying why not, and they're investing into it.
Okay. Employees who are working from home, I want to deep dive into that further and talk about which segment you're really seeing more demand coming from. Is it the office segment and the commercial, segment, which has started getting people back more and more to offices full time? Or is it from home? Because a lot of people, perhaps in the pandemic, were like, we'll wait and see what happens. But now, with a lot of companies saying it's going to be hybrid, are they investing more into having comfortable workspaces at home?
Yeah, so I think all the segments of consumers are growing. There is a growth in every segment, but I think the trend that we're really talking about is personal consumption. It's about the individual consumer trying to create a better living space at home. So I think that's the one which is, and of course the fact that a lot of organizations are today much more attuned to a hybrid way of working. All that helps,
Okay.
and all that also creates a necessity or a requirement for the consumer to create a better space at home, not just for work, but for entertainment also. I think while people are out and about, they still want to now have an option of having the entire experience at home. I think that's something that is started and I think we will see this gain momentum at least into sometime into the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since we're talking segments, another segment I must discuss
Sure.
is the demand between India and Bharat.
Yeah.
And whether you're seeing, since you're talking about premium products, you're talking about people who are working from home, what's the trend there?
So, very interesting question. And in fact, I was looking at the data very recently myself, and I was surprised from growth perspective and also from a growth of premium perspective. Actually, we see a very similar performance, whether it is tier 1, tier 2 cities or tier 3 and beyond. We are seeing a very, very similar performance. And I understand maybe other industries don't see
Sure.
that. But as far as our industry is concerned, we are seeing a very, very similar growth performance across different tiers. And I think so, yes, even the the tier 3 and tier 4 and so on and so forth, they're also becoming aware of some of these experiences, and they want to create that in their home. Truth be told, they also have a lot of space to create these experiences.
Sure.
So, why not? As long as, that's something that they can afford, why not?
Sure.
I also have one hypothesis. I'm not sure how true it is, but I think the fact that a lot of people who were working in metros,
Yeah.
they went back home,
Yeah.
and they did not have a visibility till how long are they going to be back home, and they decided to create experience. And I think it's very infectious. Once one household creates that kind of a thing, the friends, families, they also want to then create that. So I think in the smaller cities, smaller towns also, we are seeing the same concept. The premiumization, the larger capacity is happening across now.
Since we're talking about non-metro markets, I just want to bring two ideas together and really talk pricing.
Sure.
Any sales in India, and we've been speaking to some of the largest e-com players, the question we ask them is, pricing has become so competitive in India. You're going to one website and they're offering you this % discount. You're going to another and they're offering you an X % discount. Just your broad overview when it comes to pricing as a strategy, your advice for a small business which is watching this to say, this is how we approach pricing, and this is what I want to leave you with.
Yeah, so see, there are various methods in which you arrive at the price at which you want to sell to the consumer. But I think one thing that I tell everybody, that Indian consumer is very, very smart. So, the issue is not just pricing, it's also the value that you deliver.
Okay.
And you have to be true to that.
Sure.
Unless and until you deliver the right kind of a value, as compared to whatever price you're charging, it's not a good thing. It's not the right balance. You'll fail. So And just to kind of also bring in what we were discussing about, the reason premiumization is happening because the consumer sees the value in it.
Okay.
It's and then you can charge that price if the consumer sees the value in it. If the consumer is not seeing the value in it, then the pricing strategy is not working. So I think the consumer is very, very smart. We've got to have a fair price and also deliver the right kind of a value for that, and then the consumers will go ahead. Of course, there is also an expectation, especially in our culture, our society, that festive should bring something beyond whatever you normally have.
Okay.
So some part of this pricing, and I won't say it's pricing, but some part of promotion does really get activated during the festive. So we would also go ahead and have certain promotions in the market, whether it's a bundle with a existing product, or something like a cashback, just to kind of ride on the festive mood, a gift when you buy something.
Sure.
I think that also happens, and that's something that the consumers expect. That's something that the consumers like.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'll take a quick break on that note. Back in just a moment. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here in Leaders of Tomorrow. Tonight on the show, in the hot seat is Samsung. We are, of course, in the festive period, but we're also counting down to the end of the year and the start of the new year.
Sure.
So just looking forward into 2023, two things. One is demand and the second is pricing. Could you give us your outlook on how these are going to be?
So
For the industry, not just yourself.
Sure. I think the demand is going to be robust. We don't see any reasons why the demand should wane away. We're looking at a very good performance at this point of time, and we feel that the demand will continue to build. Pricing is a combination of various input costs also. I mean, I think if that is where your question is coming in from, and we will see how that pans out. At this point of time, there is no reason for us to believe any significant changes in the way the pricing is from here to next year. I don't think there is any real big issue. As a brand that is very invested into India, we have large investments into India.
Sure.
We also do most of the manufacturing within India. As a brand that is invested into India, we are also trying to increase our footprint of manufacturing in India, which should help us give the right value to the consumers.
Okay.
So over a period of time, and I think most brands, most industries are doing that. I think the localization as a trend is catching on.
Sure.
Most of the manufacturing brands, they are trying to increase the local content much more, and that also insulates us from any issues that might happen in environment, both from an availability perspective and also from a pricing perspective or costing perspective. It insulates us from that.
Okay.
So I think the industry is in a good shape to kind of manage from that perspective as we move forward, and we feel that the demand is here to stay.
And I want to talk about the overall market for you. How significant or important a market is India for you at Samsung, and also just give us an industry perspective to say this is perhaps where the bullishness is really coming from.
No, so I think as far as the Indian economy is concerned, we know that it's one of the fastest growing economies. So it's a very, very attractive market for brands to enter into this market. There is the pie is large enough for various companies to come in. We are very, very hugely invested into India, whether it's from manufacturing perspective or from R&D perspective, and we will continue to invest in the market. We feel that the growths are here to stay, not just in the midterm but long term in India, and it makes it very, very attractive market as far as we are concerned.
Okay, let me put you on the spot and ask you what phone you are using. Let's hope it's a Samsung product to begin with. And yeah, what can you tell us?
I use the Samsung product, obviously.
Ah,
I have an S22 Ultra,
okay.
but yeah, so that's the one which I'm using at this point of time.
Okay. So if we were to say catch you at home, what's the one product at home, perhaps first thing in the morning that you need to use, which is the Samsung product?
The phone.
The phone. And if you were in office?
The first product
Yeah.
would still be the
The
phone.
phone, so all your work happens off your phone?
A lot of work happens
Yeah.
on the phone. Yeah, today we've enabled, the entire office work can be
Yeah.
taken on the phone. Yeah, so to that extent, a lot of work does happen on the phone, but nothing can beat physically meeting people and physically
Yeah.
meeting partners.
Sure.
So I think it's a combination of the two.
Sure. Let's talk about perhaps, looking forward into next year. Anything you can share with us by way of, what is really exciting you, any launches, anything that we can sort of look forward to?
No, I think India is a very, very exciting market, and we are now entering into a phase where we are seeing robust demand, especially for our industry. We are also seeing upgrade premiumization happening, and that really, gives us a big opportunity in the market, and that's something that we are good at. So,
Yeah.
bringing in new technologies, and also as a brand, we are committed to not just serving a certain price point. So, if you see, in most categories that we operate from the entry point to the most premium point. So whether it's an entry product,
Yeah.
we have a good solution there uh, in line with what the consumer expectation is, and right to the top, whether it's a latest technology or whether it's capacity or whatever it is, we have products there, and we are looking at serving a very, very large section of Indian consumers. Uh, Also, one of the things that we are seeing, not just premiumization, like I said, it's about consumers' personal choices. So, they're creating spaces for themselves. We're also catching a trend in terms of can they personalize appliances to their liking. So, for example, recently we've rolled out a product called Bespoke Refrigerator. We've just launched it. And we are seeing initially a very, very good response to that. So, you can customize the kind of given your living space, you can customize the kind of refrigerator you want. So I think the stage where we are, premiumization, customization, and I think as a brand we are geared up very well
Sure.
to leverage some of these trends. And we are very excited about India and the growth story and participating in the growth story. Recently we've launched some lifestyle products. So, for example, we've launched Freestyle, which is a very light projector that you can carry with yourself. So it's 700 something grams, and it's entertainment on the go.
Okay.
And we are seeing fantastic response to that. Similarly, we've enhanced our entire sound bar range, and we are seeing fantastic response. So, earlier the consumer was buying a television, but is also now buying a television and a sound bar alongside. So I think a lot of these lifestyle products are doing extremely well. Uh, we've also launched something called the Frame, a television, which while you're not watching it as a television, can get converted into a picture frame, and so because it's got a non-reflective screen, so it doesn't really reflect the light as much. It looks like a real picture hanging on your,
Sure.
and that's also gaining good acceptance. Uh, I think the consumer also is looking at how you can do a lot more with the devices that you have. And in line with that, for example, Frame is not just a television, but is also actually truly a art piece at your home. And I think that's really gaining, congruence with how the consumer is thinking today. And I think these are the concepts which are really catching up, and we will continue to launch new products as we move forward in the lifestyle space. Similarly, Bespoke, it's not just a refrigerator, but it really complements your entire living space. Uh, and you can customize the refrigerator. Or, for example, the latest Neo QLED televisions that we've launched, where you can do VC on that television. We are trying to or the television can also become your IoT hub. So it can control your other IoT devices. So I think there is a trend where the consumer is looking at doing much more with the devices that they have, and they are looking at this kind of a capability. And we will continue to, launch products, whether it is lifestyle or ensure that our products can deliver many better solutions to the consumers.
And we're sitting here at your experience center in Gurugram, and
Yeah.
a lot of your products are displayed here.
Yeah, most of our products
Most
are
of your
there,
products are
at
displayed
least
here.
to showcase how these can be used and how they can make your life easier, and how you can have various entertainment options and so on and so forth.
Sure. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time here on the show.
Thank you so much.
Out of time on tonight's conversation. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.